Tim Bradford drives the patrol car and delivers a blunt assessment. He tells Lucy Chen she lacks the killer instinct necessary for undercover work. To Tim, her empathy is a weakness that prevents her from being a successful liar. He insists she cannot look a target in the eye, build a fake friendship, and then betray them without flinching. Lucy listens to the insult and waits for the right moment to strike. She initiates a conversation about the necessity of total honesty. She tells Tim she has been struggling to tell him something all day. With a steady voice and feigned vulnerability, she confesses that she has developed romantic feelings for him. She mentions the life-threatening situations they survived together and claims her recent behavior was a mask for her love. Tim, a veteran officer known for his emotional armor, is caught off guard. He stammers and searches for a way to let her down gently. He is visibly shaken, believing he has broken his rookie's heart. The moment Tim is most vulnerable, Lucy breaks into a laugh. The tears and the longing disappear instantly. She mocks his reaction and points out that she just lied to his face, manipulated his emotions, and betrayed his trust all within minutes. She has proven she possesses the exact cold-blooded talent he claimed she lacked. Later, in the parking garage, Tim hands her the final evaluation. He admits he was wrong. He tells her never to let anyone define her limits again. Lucy leaves her rookie year, having outmaneuvered her mentor in a high-stakes psychological game. Tim Bradford drives the patrol car and delivers a blunt assessment. He tells Lucy Chen she lacks the killer instinct necessary for undercover work. To Tim, her empathy is a weakness that prevents her from being a successful liar. He insists she cannot look a target in the eye, build a fake friendship, and then betray them without flinching. Lucy listens to the insult and waits for the right moment to strike. She initiates a conversation about the necessity of total honesty. She tells Tim she has been struggling to tell him something all day. With a steady voice and feigned vulnerability, she confesses that she has developed romantic feelings for him. She mentions the life-threatening situations they survived together and claims her recent behavior was a mask for her love. Tim, a veteran officer known for his emotional armor, is caught off guard. He stammers and searches for a way to let her down gently. He is visibly shaken, believing he has broken his rookie's heart. The moment Tim is most vulnerable, Lucy breaks into a laugh. The tears and the longing disappear instantly. She mocks his reaction and points out that she just lied to his face, manipulated his emotions, and betrayed his trust all within minutes. She has proven she possesses the exact cold-blooded talent he claimed she lacked. Later, in the parking garage, Tim hands her the final evaluation. He admits he was wrong. He tells her never to let anyone define her limits again. Lucy leaves her rookie year, having outmaneuvered her mentor in a high-stakes psychological game. An Amber Alert triggers on every mobile device in the city. A 5-hour-old infant is missing from her hospital bassinet. Patrol cars flood the streets as Air 3 coordinates the search from above. The initial suspect, Jared, is cleared, leading police to locate the real kidnapper on the 4th Street Bridge. Rita stands on the concrete ledge, clutching the stolen newborn against the wind. She has recently lost her own daughter to SIDS and has entered a state of total psychological collapse. In her delusion, the stolen child is her own. Officer Lopez steps onto the bridge, maintaining a steady, non-threatening pace. She bypasses standard tactical procedures and chooses a direct verbal approach. Lopez reveals her own pregnancy, detailing the specific anxiety of protecting a life she hasn't met yet. She stands inches from the ledge, forcing Rita to engage. Lopez demands that Rita look directly into the infant's eyes. As Rita focuses, the biological facts override her grief. She notices the features do not match her lost child. The realization breaks her grip on the fantasy. Rita begins to tremble, handing the infant over to Lopez's waiting arms. Backup units move in immediately to secure the perimeter. Rita is taken into medical custody without further incident. The infant is transported back to the hospital in a patrol car, reunited with her mother shortly after the standoff. The city's emergency sirens fall silent. Wesley meets a gang boss at an outdoor cinema. To save his kidnapped wife, he discards his legal oath. He agrees to become a crooked lawyer, trading his professional soul for a location in Guatemala. Meanwhile, Angela is held captive in a fortified villa. The LAPD arrives, operating without official permission. They deploy an RC ground drone to navigate the perimeter. The device crawls through the dirt, identifying infrared sensors and guard patterns. Inside the villa, Angela realizes the guards will not let her leave. She initiates Plan B. She takes a syringe of Pitocin and plunges it into her arm. The drug triggers immediate, violent uterine contractions. She feigns a medical emergency, forcing the cartel to move her out of the fortress toward a hospital. This move creates the only window for rescue. The transfer becomes a battlefield. At the extraction point, the police team opens fire. Cartel soldiers retaliate with heavy weaponry. Bullets shatter glass and rip through metal. Amidst the chaos, a helicopter screams toward the landing zone. The team drags Angela through the dirt as rotors kick up a blinding storm of dust. They reach the open door of the aircraft. As the cartel closes in, the pilot pulls the helicopter into the sky. The mission concludes in the air. 3 months later, Angela and Wesley walk into their home with their newborn baby. The child sleeps through the sound of a police scanner, a reminder of the price paid for his life. Officer Jackson West is killed in the line of duty. His final act is a struggle. During the autopsy, the coroner discovers skin tissue trapped under West's fingernails. This physical evidence is the only lead. Lab technicians rush the DNA through the national database to find a match. The system identifies the killer as Armando de Leon. He is 17 years old and an active member of the Los Morados gang. The police department shifts into high-intensity search mode. Sergeant Gray leads the pursuit, tracking the teenager to a decaying apartment complex. Gray and his partner breach the building. Armando attempts to flee through the service corridors but ends up trapped in a dark, industrial basement. Sergeant Gray corners him alone. He keeps his service weapon aimed directly at Armando's head. The teenager raises his hands, but the atmosphere is heavy with the threat of immediate retaliation. Gray stands inches away from the boy who executed his officer. He speaks with a low, controlled voice. He describes the reality of the morgue, how Jackson, a man full of potential, is now just a body on a cold steel table in a dark drawer. Gray admits that a part of him wants to pull the trigger. He calls it a holy fantasy. His finger tightens on the trigger. Armando is visibly shaking, realizing his life depends entirely on the sergeant's restraint. The silence in the basement is absolute. Gray looks at the killer and decides to uphold his badge. He lowers his weapon and moves in. He slams Armando against a boiler and clicks the handcuffs into place. He formally arrests him for the murder of Jackson West. Gray chooses the law over blood. Officer West conducts a routine search of a suspect's vehicle. He pries open the dashboard, triggering a hidden trap that sprays a cloud of white powder directly into his face. He immediately identifies the substance as PCP. The psychological weight of a massive overdose hits him instantly. He believes his nervous system is being hijacked by a potent dissociative agent. Back at the precinct, West enters a state of manic hyperfocus. He tells his partner his brain is overclocking, moving faster than humanly possible. He begins rambling about complex criminal algorithms, convinced he can now see into the future. To West, the chaos of the city has transformed into a series of predictable patterns. He believes he has gained the ability to stop crimes before they are even committed. His delusion reaches its peak at the office copier. He stands over the Xerox machine, treating it as a neural interface. He attempts to scan his own head, certain that the machine can document the pre-crime data streaming through his mind. He claims they are standing at the nexus of a law enforcement revolution. The medical report destroys the narrative. The lab results confirm that powder is completely legal. It is a harmless mixture of horse vitamins and concentrated caffeine. West never ingested a single milligram of PCP. His godlike perception and predictive powers were merely the result of a severe allergic reaction triggered by intense psychological suggestion. The hypersensory experience was a caffeine-fueled panic attack masquerading as a breakthrough in human evolution. Officer Tim Bradford rear-ends a civilian car during a routine patrol. The impact is violent. Airbags deploy, and Tim is left bleeding, facing an immediate threat to his 12-year career. On paper, it is a clear-cut case of driver negligence. His partner, Lucy Chen, suspects a setup. She inspects the damaged vehicle at the repair shop and discovers the brake light wires were deliberately disconnected. There were no warning lights before the collision. This is a swoop and squat scam, a professional insurance fraud designed to force a trailing vehicle into a crash. The investigation deepens when Chen finds red phosphorus hidden in the trunk. This chemical is a primary ingredient for arson. The scammers were not just looking for a settlement, they were preparing to burn down property for a payout. The police bring the husband, Mike Garvey, in for questioning. Chen reveals his criminal record: 3 arrests for fraud and 1 conviction. The narrative shifts from a traffic accident to a murder plot. The evidence suggests Mike intended to kill his wife to claim a massive life insurance payout. Mike attempts to intimidate the officers with threats of a lawsuit. Bradford remains unmoved, advising him to hire a criminal defense attorney instead of a civil one. The police execute a high-stakes arrest at the hospital. What started as a career-ending accident for Bradford is exposed as a calculated attempt at homicide. The victims are handcuffed, and the technical evidence clears Bradford's name. Nolan sits in a silent law office guarding a crime scene. His phone screen flickers and dies at 0%. He is isolated. Elroy, a bioremediation specialist, enters to begin the cleanup. Elroy ignores the yellow tape and studies the floor. He points out circular blood drops, proving the victim was stationary when he bled. Then he points to the executive desk. Small, jagged holes mark the wood. The victim was nailed to the desk and tortured. A $20,000 bottle of tequila sits nearby, a clear indicator of hidden assets. The professional deduction is interrupted by the sound of heavy boots. 2 men armed with shotguns breach the entrance. They have returned for the money. With no way to call for backup, Nolan grabs Elroy and retreats into the building's unfinished crawl space. The killers move through the rooms, firing rounds into the drywall. Nolan tracks their movement through his body cam. He uses a heavy wooden crate to barricade a doorway, forcing the gunman into a narrow corridor. In the dim light of the construction zone, Nolan uses a brick as a distraction. The sound draws 1 gunman away. Nolan emerges from the shadows, firing with precision. He disarms the first man and engages the second in a frantic struggle on the concrete floor. Nolan gains the upper hand, pinning the suspect as Elroy stands guard with a metal pipe. The threat is neutralized. Nolan stands over the captured men, his breathing heavy in the quiet office. The scene is once again under police control. Nevin stands behind the counter of his new bakery. attempting to leave his gang pass behind. Gang leader McGuire enters, demanding that Nevin use the business to launder drug money. Nevin refuses to comply. Within 24 hours, McGuire's crew ambushes Nevin, leaving him in a hospital bed with multiple broken ribs and a shattered arm. Sergeant Bradford visits the victim and then tracks McGuire down on a public sidewalk. Bradford activates his body cam, ensuring every second of the interaction is recorded for the official file. McGuire attempts to intimidate the officer with threats of further violence, but Bradford remains unmoved. Instead of using force, Bradford recites a passage from Shakespeare's Othello regarding the fragility of reputation. McGuire stares back in silence, unable to process the literary critique. The power dynamic shifts as Bradford exposes the criminal's lack of sophistication. To finalize the counterattack, Bradford implements a strategic administrative move. He officially designates Nevin's Bakery as the primary rest stop for the local precinct. Within hours, marked patrol cars are permanently stationed at the curb. Uniformed officers move in and out of the shop around the clock for coffee and donuts. The constant police presence turns the bakery into a high-security zone. McGuire watches from a distance as his window for money laundering slams shut. He cannot move his cash through a shop filled with armed officers. Bradford stands by his patrol car, watching the gang leader realize that his operation is dead. Facts and Protocol have dismantled the threat without a single shot being fired. Training officer Tim Bradford conducts a search with his rookie in a high-crime neighborhood. He stops when he spots a woman among the addicts. It is Isabel, his wife, missing for a year. She is disheveled and emaciated. Tim does not arrest the dealer standing next to her. He breaks protocol and orders the dealer to walk away. His rookie watches in silence as the most disciplined man in the precinct protects a criminal to shield his wife's shame. Minutes later, they pull into a narrow alley. Two gunmen exit a car and open fire with Glocks. The ambush is immediate. Bullets punch through the police cruiser and hit Tim multiple times in the torso. He falls to the asphalt, his blood spreads across the dirt. The rookie, Chen, crouches behind the car door, returning fire while screaming for an RA unit over the radio. Emergency teams swarm the scene. They lift Tim's limp body onto a gurney. The instructor who terrorized recruits with his perceived invincibility is now a pale patient fighting for breath. At the hospital, the sergeant learns the truth. Tim's emotional collapse led to the tactical error that nearly killed them both. Tim undergoes emergency surgery to remove the lead from his chest. He survives the operation, but the image of the cold-blooded hardass is destroyed. He is revealed as a man whose life was hollowed out by his wife's addiction long before the first bullet was fired. Officer Nolan responds to a downed power line and finds Denise unconscious from a high-voltage shock. He performs CPR and brings her back to life. This rescue initiates a deadly fixation. Denise downloads a police scanner app to monitor Nolan's radio frequency in real time. She tracks his patrol car's movements across the city, waiting for the right moment to strike. She sends flowers to the precinct, but her true goal is physical proximity. Denise places a fraudulent 911 call, reporting an armed intruder at a residence. Nolan arrives with his weapon drawn, only to find Denise waiting for him. She has staged a crisis to force a private confrontation. Nolan realizes the deception and rejects her advances, stating clearly that her behavior is criminal. He exits the house, but Denise escalates her tactics. She breaks into the home of Nolan's friend and swallows a lethal dose of pills. Nolan enters the bedroom to find her unresponsive with an empty bottle on the nightstand. She has weaponized her own death to blackmail his emotions. For the second time, Nolan is forced to perform life-saving compressions on the woman stalking him. He restarts her heart once more, trapped in a cycle of saving the person who is systematically destroying his peace. The ambulance arrives, but the rescue offers no relief. Nolan has saved her body, but he remains the prisoner of her terminal obsession. The police department initiates a raid on Bronson Estates to capture Vance, a drug dealer responsible for shooting an officer's wife. As the units move into the building, their radios go silent. A frequency jammer hidden in the basement creates a total signal blackout, cutting the officers off from the outside world. Gunfire erupts in the hallways, pinning the teams down. Officers Bishop and West take cover as bullets pierce the drywall. Inside a nearby apartment, officers Chen and Bradford protect a pregnant witness. They cannot open the door without being shot. Chen opens the body cam application on her phone and tapes her camera to a baton. She slides the device through the transom window above the door. The phone screen provides a live feed of the gunmen's positions in the corridor, allowing the officers to track their movements in real time. To bypass the hallway kill zone, Officer Lopez tests the interior walls for weak spots. She kicks through the drywall, creating a physical breach into the next unit to move the team toward the basement. They locate the main breaker and the military-grade jammer. Lopez cuts the power, and the radio signal returns instantly. With communication restored, a SWAT team storms the complex. They deploy smoke and flashbangs to neutralize the shooters. Vance is forced into the open and arrested. The officers secure the building and evacuate the witness to an ambulance. The ambush fails as the team breaks the siege through tactical improvisation and technical subversion. Nolan subdues an intruder in his home while Lucy Chen is secretly present. To protect their careers, Nolan tells her to leave before the police arrive. Commander West begins a formal internal investigation into the incident. Nolan sits for questioning and maintains he was alone during the struggle. West notes a discrepancy. The intruder claims he heard a second voice before being knocked unconscious. Nolan denies it. West then points out another detail from the scene. The shower was wet, but Nolan was dry. Nolan claims he runs the shower to humidify the dry air. West expresses clear doubt, but offers no immediate rebuttal. In the station break room, Lucy confronts Nolan. She tells him that the truth will result in both of them being fired. She argues that their work as officers is more important than a moral confession. West calls Nolan back for a final meeting. He gives Nolan until the end of the shift to amend his statement. He explains that he can forgive many things, but not dishonesty, citing how he raised his own son. The deadline passes. Nolan returns to the office for the final decision. West clears Nolan for active duty and officially closes the case based on the original report. West accepts the statement as fact, and Nolan returns to his patrol duties. The investigation ends with the lie intact. Officer John Nolan corners a suspect on a hospital rooftop as she attempts to hijack a medevac helicopter. The target is Kaya DeVera, a former Black Hawk door gunner with 2 combat tours, now turned armed robber. DeVera draws her weapon and aims directly at Nolan's head. She is a trained killer. Nolan is a 40-year-old rookie. He does not fire. Instead, he initiates a psychological confrontation. Nolan acknowledges her history as a war hero, forcing her to confront the person she used to be. DeVera threatens to put a hollow point bullet through his skull, but Nolan does not flinch. He speaks about the thin line between good and evil. He tells her that people are only good when it is easy, but true character is defined when things get hard. He explains that once a person crosses the line into darkness, they can never go back. Nolan places his life on the line, betting that DeVera still values her own humanity. He offers her a choice: kill him and lose herself forever, or stop. The tension peaks as DeVera hesitates, her finger hovering over the trigger. This moment of doubt provides the necessary window for his training officer, Bishop, to move into position. Bishop fires, neutralizing DeVera before she can pull the trigger. Nolan survives the encounter, having dismantled a professional soldier's resolve through words alone. He proves that the most effective weapon on the street is not a gun, but a deep understanding of the human breaking point. Officer John Nolan receives sudden news. His son Henry is engaged to Abigail. Suspicion overrides celebration. Nolan enters the police database and runs an unauthorized background check. The screen displays a criminal record for arson and the use of a caustic substance. Nolan carries this secret into a hospital courtyard, seeking advice from a colleague. He wonders if protecting his son justifies violating Abigail's privacy. He keeps the document, weighing the risk of silence against the damage of the truth. The tension peaks during a family dinner. Nolan breaks the silence and reveals he knows about the arson charge. Henry reacts with immediate anger. Abigail is stunned. The background check has breached the family's trust before the meal is finished. Abigail does not deny the crime. She provides the facts. An ex-boyfriend posted private videos of her on the internet to destroy her life. The police did not intervene. In an act of targeted retaliation, she drove to his house and torched his vehicle. She was arrested and processed while the man who violated her remained free. The room goes quiet as the motive replaces the mystery. Nolan realizes his professional instinct has caused a personal injury. He admits his fear clouded his judgment and undermined his son's choice. He offers a direct apology for his actions. The confrontation shifts from an interrogation to an acknowledgement of Abigail's past. Nolan stops treating her as a suspect and accepts her as a future member of the family. The investigation ends with a reconciliation. Hawk, a legendary police academy instructor, stands by his truck at a motel as his former students arrive to take him into custody. He refuses to comply. To sabotage the GPS tracking, Hawk tosses his cell phone into the bed of a passing civilian vehicle. He rams a police cruiser and speeds out of the parking lot, initiating a high-speed pursuit. Hawk knows every tactical maneuver the officers will use because he is the one who taught them. During the chase, he deploys a smoke grenade from his window. Thick white smoke blinds the pursuing units, allowing Hawk to break the line of sight and vanish. He drives directly to his son's school and takes the boy, Logan, into his truck. Now, the fugitive has a hostage. Hawk monitors the police radio, mocking the officers' failed attempts to pin his vehicle. He leads the chase into a narrow loading bay where Nolan and Bradford finally corner him. Hawk exits the vehicle with a handgun. He does not hide, he challenges them. He analyzes their physical stances and exploits the psychological weaknesses he documented during their training. Hawk attempts suicide by cop, shouting insults to provoke a fatal shot. He engages in a brutal hand-to-hand struggle, disarming the officers using superior combat techniques. Just as the confrontation turns lethal, Bishop fires a taser. The electrical surge drops Hawk to the concrete. The instructor is handcuffed by the students he once trained. The hunt ends in a cold, silent loading bay. Captain Anderson is processing paperwork at the station when an ex-convict approaches the desk. He is agitated, asking about the prison sentence for murder. Anderson senses the shift in his demeanor and tries to de-escalate, but the man has already made his choice. He draws a Glock handgun and grabs a female bystander, pulling her into a chokehold. He shouts that he cannot survive on the outside and is willing to kill to return to a cell forever. Uniformed officers converge on the lobby. weapons drawn and aimed. The tension is absolute. Anderson remains composed, stepping into the gunman's line of sight. She identifies the weapon and recognizes the man's lack of technical knowledge. She asks if he has ever used a gun before, then delivers a cold, factual lie. You've got your safety on. The gunman's eyes drop to the weapon. His thumb fumbles for a switch that does not exist on a Glock. In that fraction of a second, Anderson lunges. She strikes with a textbook close-quarters maneuver, slamming the man to the ground before he can pull the trigger. Officers swarm the suspect, pinning him to the floor and stripping the firearm from his grip. After the suspect is cuffed, an officer examines the Glock. She realizes the weapon has no external safety. Anderson intentionally charged a live weapon, betting the entire situation on a psychological bluff. The hostage is unharmed. Anderson stands up, adjusts her duty belt, and walks back to her desk. Officer Lucy Chen clears a homeless camp when a struggle breaks out. A used hypodermic needle pierces her uniform and enters her skin. At the hospital, her status as an armed officer grants her immediate priority over civilian patients. While waiting for blood results, Lucy stares at her phone, scrolling through medical data. The statistics show that HIV and hepatitis are 5 times more prevalent in the homeless community than in the general public. She calculates the odds of accidentally infecting others if she is ever wounded on duty. Her training officer, Tim Bradford, enters the exam room and confiscates her phone. He tells her that focusing on fear will not alter the outcome of the laboratory tests. He reminds her that the job requires a total commitment of both life and health. He offers her a choice: remain in the room and wait, or return to the streets to finish the shift. Lucy chooses to work, masking her anxiety behind her badge. Hours later, the doctor returns with the results. Lucy tests negative for HIV and hepatitis. The immediate threat of a terminal virus is gone, but the report reveals a different danger. The needle left behind a severe staph infection. The doctor explains that some strains are drug-resistant and could lead to abscesses or sepsis. Lucy is not cleared for duty. Instead, she is ordered into a hospital bed for immediate intravenous antibiotics. The crisis has not ended. It has simply changed form. She watches her partner leave as the medical team begins the infusion. Sergeant Gray addresses the morning roll call, warning the squad about the rise of police entitlement. He demands they learn the difference between the letter of the law and its spirit, stating the power behind the badge is dangerous if misused. Shortly after, Rookie Officer West pulls over a frantic woman for running a stop sign. She is in tears, explaining her dog has eaten toxic macadamia nuts and needs its stomach pumped immediately. West remains unmoved. He demands her license and writes a citation while her dog whimpers in the passenger seat. His training officer, Lopez, watches from the curb. She tells him a warning would have sufficed for a dying animal, but West argues that the law must be applied without exception. Their next call takes them to a high-end restaurant. A scam artist has run up a $680 tab and tried to slip out the back. The manager has him locked in a walk-in freezer. Lopez realizes the theft is just $20 short of a felony charge. She tells the victimized woman to order the most expensive dessert on the menu to push the bill over the $700 threshold. West calls this a falsified report and refuses to participate. Lopez shuts him down. She reminds him of the day she lied to cover up his cowardice during a shootout. She then pulls an illegal push dagger from West's own vest, a gift from his father. She holds the illegal weapon to his face, proving his hypocrisy. West stops his protest, takes the pen, and files the felony report. The police units execute a high-risk raid on a cartel safe house using a heavy breaching ram to destroy the door. Inside, they secure $1 million in cash. The scene is locked down, but the final count comes up short. $250,000 is missing. 3 rookies, Nolan, Chen, and West, were the last ones guarding the evidence. Sergeant Gray and the captain pull them into a briefing room and issue a cold ultimatum: take a polygraph test or face immediate termination. The rookies maintain their innocence, but the pressure mounts as Internal Affairs moves in. The crisis shifts when a cartel hit squad kidnaps Officer Chen. They drag her to a remote location, demanding the return of their money. While held at gunpoint, Chen notices the gang leader's snakeskin boots and a duffel bag with a distinctive red stripe. She remembers seeing these exact items near the house just before the official raid began. The realization hits: the money was stolen before the police even entered the building. The veteran undercover officer, Ortiz, is the true thief. He tipped off the cartel and pocketed the cash himself. Back at the station, the team analyzes the technical evidence. They pull Ortiz's burner phone records, showing a call to the gang minutes before the breach. While Ortiz lies in a hospital bed recovering from raid-related injuries, the captain arrives and presents the evidence of his betrayal. Officers move in and handcuff Ortiz to the metal bed frame. The missing cash is recovered, and the rookies are cleared of all charges. Officer Jackson West aims to break his father's arrest records. Instead, he is assigned to a desk. On his plainclothes day, a detective hands him a box of evidence from a homicide. West must catalog every item. He views the task as a waste of his potential. He sits in a room filled with plastic bags, manually entering data into a spreadsheet. Mrs. Ochoa enters the station. Her husband was killed in their bedroom during a home invasion. She asks for his belongings. a Bible, jewelry, and clothes. West cites department policy. He informs her that every item in the room is evidence and cannot be released until after the trial. Mrs. Ochoa tells him these are not just objects, they are her memories. She leaves empty-handed. West returns to the evidence room. He stops scanning barcodes and starts looking at the items. He sifts through a mountain of personal effects and finds a cheap, broken watch. The report states it was found in the hallway outside the immediate crime scene. West realizes he can exploit a technicality to return it. He calls Mrs. Ochoa back. He hands her the watch. She explains she bought it for their first anniversary when they had nothing. Her husband wore it every day for decades. West watches her leave. He understands that the job is not just about the numbers on an arrest sheet, it is about the person behind the evidence tag. Plainclothes Day begins at the precinct with a definitive warning. Training officers will observe, but they will offer no guidance and no backup. Statistically, 20% of rookies fail their probation on this single day. Officer Nolan, the oldest trainee, immediately struggles. He fails to secure a suspect during a pursuit, allowing the man to escape. His training officer, Bishop, records the failure and delivers a blunt assessment. She tells Nolan he lacks situational awareness and advises him to stop dreaming of a promotion and focus on surviving the shift. The tension peaks when a call reports a domestic abuser has kidnapped a woman. Nolan uses GPS data to track the suspect's location to a warehouse alley. Inside, the suspect holds a knife to the victim's throat. Bishop stands by, watching Nolan face the life or death scenario alone. Nolan ignores his holster and chooses a verbal